got offered. Matt, I think Matt said by the time I'd done the design, didn't even have to build it, and I could have sold it for I think 3.2 or something. He said straight away, easy. But I wanted to do it. I could have walked away with easy money.
So it was an emotional play?
Not emotional.
No?
It's just a
You weighed it
satisfaction.
up? Yeah.
It's got to be done. Once I see it, that's it. It's going up.
Okay, so we're here with Geordie the man, John Travolta, Bulmer, Justin the Hillman Hilly,
Hello.
and Lisa the Larrikin, aka Cheryl, talking about nailing the sale. And nailing the sale means nailing the sale in property development. So knowing who your buyer is, having an end in mind approach, and effectively having these property developments sell themselves well before completion. That's what we're really focusing on today. So a lot of aspiring property developers or even developers that are already doing this sometimes struggle with their mindset because they're like, I don't know if it will sell, will it sell for the right price? And they sort of hold their position. They hold their development traction or momentum. I really want to today focus on nailing the sale so that we build more confidence with the audience and they build more confidence in themselves to go, cool, if I nail my location, nail my design, nail my buyer, nail all these important things that should be at the forefront before
for a successful sale.
100%. So Hilly, what are we covering today? What are the key important components?
I guess with the developments, it's having these guys in your corner, number one, working with the same people, having the relationships, as I've always said. I only deal with them. I always get poached by other people to do stuff, but loyalty stays thick. But yeah, you just got to have them in your corner, and then I guess markets change.
Who are they?
McGrath, Jordan, Matt, Trev. And you know that's the only people I deal with. Like obviously people ring up and say I've got this and that, but then they go, when you finish, can you sell it? No, sorry, can't. They're going to do it, but you gotta have them in the corner.
But the reason why that as well is because you have a luxury brand and you build luxury products that target our clientele essentially, like business that Matt's dealt with for a long time. Yeah,
huge.
But if you were dealing in $2 million Davistown Hamptons houses, you wouldn't be using us.
You may as well sell it yourself.
You would be, or you'd be using somebody that's an area specialist out there, right?
100%. And I think that's number one. So that's the start of the whole process. So then, obviously, we're all looking for a site together that suits, I guess. And like I was about to say before, markets change. I remember before, like we're looking at doing a development, and it was all about having 1 and 2 bedders. Now you wouldn't even consider a 1 and 2 bedder. Would not even think about it. The 3 bedders, large, 150 plus square metre unit. So, that's number one. And then once you know what market you're buying in, then you've got to go, right, we need to find the site that suits it. And then straight away, like, righto. And I've always said you need to hit 80% of the market. And then you find the site and then you start the design. And the design's the most important part.
So take us back to when you were many moons ago, starting out in development and thinking about people who might be listening who are either going in their first or second time developing. You're in with your crew now as agents.
Well, when I started, I wasn't even in with them then. Yeah. So I had another little bloke, Matty Kidd. He's a legend. Yeah. And I was down that way locally sort of more, and I was doing obviously more in-house flips. So that's a bit harder because you've got a house you've got to work with, so you're sort of restricted on the design that you can do anyway, and then obviously you've got to be very cost effective on those ones. So,
but some people might need to start there, right? If they can't afford to acquire a site and hold it and then redesign it, rebuild it. Yeah. It's like we fill in the gap almost. It's like 100%. We're going to a site tomorrow with Matt, and the purchase price is this and our expected sale price is that, but we don't know what the middle costs. So it's like...
So I know that.
That's where, And then the design process, you pretty much cover most of that yourself. We have a little bit of opinions.
Always bring me in for opinions, but like always say, here's the first concepts. I always come there, I sit down and go, right, I'm drawing all over it. we changed the spa even at McGee, and just moving stuff around to suit what, obviously they're going in more houses than I am. And they're dealing with more buyers than what I am. So then it's fine tuning that last part.
Well, even at an auction we went to, you straight on the phone to them during the auction saying, oh, it's gone to here, do we do it? And you got the no, don't do it. Yeah. That's so valuable, having 100%, that ability to talk to people who know.
Especially when we've got hot pants
mate
over
trying
there.
to go, yeah, let's keep bidding.
Should have bought it, Julie. No, listen to the finance guy, right? Okay, so go back to Matt Kidd days, right? Go back to those days, because we need to start somewhere and then evolve, right? What would you do? Would you call him up and say, I'm thinking of doing this?
I was doing it myself. I was hunting myself. Like, I was just looking for it all the time myself, to be honest. He wasn't like what they sort of were. For me, and I wasn't at that stage either. I was more about, and it was living in them, knocking the tax off and whatnot, and living in them, and then going, right, finding them, making a bit of equity in the first year or something, and then going, bang, right, I design it. I used to do my own mud, mate. I used to do my own design and then give it to a drafty. I should draw it myself then. And then give it to a drafty and say, can you do it on your system and make it?
How did you know that it would sell?
Because of the product. I just knew that I'd make sure, even back then, it was the same concept. I'd still make sure, like, I'm ripping shit out still back then if I wasn't happy with it.
So
for instance, the one at Namatjira that you guys sold, and then they went on and sold it for $1.1 million 12 months later, it did nothing. The agents that went in there and sold that one, they said that the building report was the best that they've ever got, and the comments that they got from people, I didn't have it then. This was the second sale after me, and saying it's the best reno they've seen. So it's more about the quality and the product. And
so visualize yourself sitting there doing this mud map, right? Were you considering who that end buyer was in that moment? Sort
of, but I was restricted even on that one. So I had to put I knew that even because I was living there, we had we had a kid, and then we had the next baby, the middle one, and I had to put those two kids downstairs, and I don't like that. So that did struggle, and it was in McMaster's Beach, which, as we all know, Geordie, it's a very experienced, back there, it's killing it now, but back then was an exclusive area.
It turns on and turns off, yeah.
So you got to get the right particular buyer out there, and it took 3 months or something to sell that thing. It did 3 or 4 months, but we got it. But it's a bit different. I was living in there anyway, so it's not like,
just for clarity purposes.
It's not a stress sale, it's not.
What made you confident though? Because you didn't really have the real estates in your corner. You knew you could do beautiful stuff.
On them ones I did, but the ones at the start, no.
Yeah, but you knew you could do beautiful product. But how did you know things like, am I going in the right suburbs? Or am I going for the right buyer? Like, how did you get that confidence?
Oh, look, I always knew over the bridge. Obviously, the first couple are in your minor, which is now booming. But back then, it was just what I could get back then.
Okay.
And just knowing that there was a profit in it, whether it's 100, 200 or 300. Okay. Like, it's never going to be millions in them ones. But just knowing that, right, I'm going to get a bit out of this one, and then I'm going to do another one, or I'm going to do 2 at once, and then I'm going to get the couple up, and then go bigger and bigger and bigger. But it was more like... I'd sort of have a bit of pull in regards to, because I wasn't as close as what I am to these guys now, and that's the way it is. I'd go, right, you get me this house for this price, and you're going to sell it. That was my pitch.
Some leverage there, yeah.
That was my pitch. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it was to like Matt or someone else down there, or Dodge down there, they used to sell them, and I'd go, if I can get it for this, and you put me in front, and I get it, and then you're going to sell it. And I'll be honest, I would. And that was just then. And then when we moved up this way, it was just... I think it was the first one in McMaster's Beach on the scenic road. That's when we met Matt and Trev. Well, we sort of knew each other, and then Matt and Trev, and then we started talking. That was it, done. And then...
But some of the earlier ones, if looking back at them now, you would have done different developments, I would think, knowing what you know now.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because it's all learning. You just keep going and progressing. The next one's going to be completely different as well to the one that we're doing now, or the one that we did before. Yeah, you just then you get different, I guess. Different things you want to achieve and strive for, especially in the design.
Because if you look at your business now, see, Wombl's a very broad market, super broad, always has buyers no matter what the market's doing. Got a lot of comparable sales. You're not creating the market in there apart from McGee, but the brilliant product. But if you were doing it again, you would go, what's the broadest marketplace that's always got buyers, that has a lot of comparable sales, and there's always things selling. Yeah. Like, rather than a McMaster's, which is phenomenal suburb, but at the moment we can't sell anything there.
Yeah. Whereas
no matter what it is,
6 months ago, 4 sales signs are coming down with
like this. Boom, 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 boom.
This is how I illustrated it today. Was like on this axis, you think of more like the area is pretty good. So McMaster's or Wamberal, etc., is good. And then you think of it as like the different tiers of buyers. So they have different tiers based on the psychographic and demographic of that suburb. So you've got high net wealth individuals that play a good percentage in that area, but then you've also got mid tier and lower tier. So that you've got that range, correct? Because Wamberal offers you range. Would you
Massive
say?
range, yeah.
Other suburbs.
There's
locations.
probably 5 streets in Wamberal that they're the ones are developing.
And would you say now, just thinking about it, the higher the price per square meter of the land or the acquisition cost, the higher the risk, but the higher benefit
Better
of
return.
profit.
Yeah.
So
At
you
the end of
can
the day, a build's a build. Like, I know you've got to suit the build to the site, but I mean, we'll put it this way. If I'm buying $1 million site, but I'm building a $2 million product, but I know I can only get 3.5, and then I'm buying a site for 2 mil and I'm buying and doing a $2 million product the same, but I know I'm going to get 6.5. It's like the build's a build. You do have to suit the build to the site, but at the end of the day, if I'm building a McGee on McGee, or I'm building a McGee on Old Gossip Road, it's still the same build.
same cost.
Same cost.
But you've also got the time then in the feasibility as well. So
Same
you want the
cost.
sales to be fast,
You
right?
won't get it.
Need to be
Like,
locate, yeah.
Down there, it's probably
Yeah.
going to be a 5.
Yeah.
No, like 4, 5, 5. Yeah, so it's not going to, you're losing money.
It is all risk, isn't it? Because you build something in Wamberal 3 to 3.5 million, boom, 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 boom. You build a McGee, like Justin was brave to build that, and we were
The
confident
biggest sale
that we
before that was 3 point.
never happened in
6
Wamberal
million.
before. So we had to sit. He did a brilliant job, but we also had to create a market that had never happened before. And people don't particularly
And not
like
only that-
being the person to pay the most amount of money for a house in a suburb by a long way.
And then not only that,
You're a
it's like-
trailblazer, really. Like
Well,
that, most developers out there wouldn't be doing what you're
Well, when
doing.
you got a value there telling me I'm only going to get 4.5, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
And then you got to stay positive. You got to stick to what you
Why?
say.
How
that
did
you're
you
doing.
do? Like, what was the thought
Well, there's
going
another
through
option.
your mind?
Oh mate, we got offered. I got offered. Matt, what did we? I think Matt said by the time I'd done the design, didn't even have to build it, and I could have sold it for I think 3.2 or something. He said straight away, easy. But it was I wanted to do it. I could have walked away with easy money.
So it was an emotional play.
Not emotional.
No?
It's just a
You weighed it
satisfaction.
up? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be done. Once I see it, that's it. It's going up.
Yeah.
There must have been confidence in the ratio though, because we talked about ratio at your level, ratio at smaller guys' levels, where you can understand land to build and how they work. Now, based on the McGee Street one in Wamberal, right, you've obviously gone, land is this, build is more, and you created your market. How did you build confidence in that ratio though of land to build?
Well, look, it sort of changed a bit because we're aiming for a sort of a 5.5 to 6 or 6, but the bill was going to be about 1, I think 9 or 2, what I think we were talking about, and then things change. You know, and then you get the design, you go, no, I'm doing it, and then obviously your sale changes, and you got to stick to it. That one was more of a show. Like that had to be done, whether I made 2 mil, 200, or broke even. That had to be done because now that's set a benchmark of what we'll do for the next one, and do it. You can do it. Just start doing it even smarter. But that had to be done. Like I wasn't pulling back on that one bit. You know, like that was happening to the full extent. And you got it. So, and then that'll just ramp up everything else anyway. So, more of a showpiece, I guess. More of a.
So going back to the earlier days again. Sorry, I'm just trying to clear this up for the.
He needs to know.
I need to know what, and you kind of asked it before. What would you do different, knowing what you know now, doing what you do with products like McGee? If you went back and started doing like $1 million land, $1 million build, or even below that,
I'd probably try and even start it. But well, I don't know. Like I had different ideas of what I wanted to do when I was younger. So I mean, I've always wanted to do that and always did that. But then I went overseas for a fair while as well, so to play footy and whatnot and everything like that. So that slowed things down a bit. Obviously, spend a ton there, come back, start again. But I probably wouldn't change that. But I mean, if you just want to go out and just be aspiring developer and then develop, I'd probably be a little bit more aggressive. Probably meet people like these a bit earlier.
okay.
Just do the same thing, but just earlier, I guess, really.
So find someone like Geordie, but
You got it.
not Geordie because Geordie's in a different market, more of a high-end market. So you'll find
Find what
junior
suits what
Geordie,
you're going to do.
junior
Like,
Geordie, that location specialist.
100%.
right?
You
And
have to
say-
find location specialists. Like, you're going to start in one suburb.
Correct.
Get the person who
Or you
knows
can
that
afford.
suburb.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got to start somewhere and get the person that knows that suburb. You know, and if you're not a builder, get the builder that knows that suburb, or get the builder who's got good reputation there. Like, because obviously a lot of builders aren't developers either. A lot of developers are just developers.
And do you think you got to be passionate about the area too?
You have to be.
Yeah.
100%.
I can't sell in other areas that I don't like. I just say
I
no.
want to obviously branch out, as you know, but and we will. Like, I'm obviously talking to people now in the Port Stephens area, Merewether, because that's going nuts, and then eventually get into Southeast Queensland or something like that's 2, 5, whatever years. But you got to get passionate about it too. So I'm trying to.
But it goes back to your buyer, doesn't it? Because the reason you're passionate about this area,
Yeah.
both of you, is because you want to please the buyers and you know who they are.
Put it this way, we
They're
sold
people
$5
that want to
million
live.
properties 5 years ago.
No. But
Or 7 or
somebody
whatever.
has to do the research, whether it's the agent, and we know it back to front because we live and breathe it. We talk to every buyer. We sold every property.
Know
I could tell you
everyone.
what everything would sell for within a few $100,000 in Wombrel. I've told you. I've done it to every single person in the area. So, like, you know what things should sell for. Like,
And you
unless
have
you're
to know
creating
that.
a market. But there's people in Wombrel that I deal with that buy sites for 1.2 million and spend 800 and sell it for 3. And that's them. That's their model. Boom, 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 boom. Like, and there's 50 comparable sales that support that. So logic would say, if I buy a site for here, I spend that. There's been 20 other ones in the last 12 months that sold for 3 million. It's what's the unlikelihood
And it always
of me
comes
selling
down
it
to
for less?
Yeah.
If you do a shit design, you're not going to get this up.
That's the whole. That's the most important part.
Floor plan, look, materials, you're going to get a shit sale if it doesn't appeal to buyers, not just the buyer.
Yeah, so look, let's go into that because we talked a little bit about time before and we know the impact of time on feasibility and the outcome. So how do you, at the beginning or throughout the build process, ensure that you are getting that sale done as early as possible? So we've talked about renders before and making sure that they're, as looking as good as they can be. But what's the process that you sort of follow to get that sale happening as quickly as possible?
Well, we're going to start something again soon for the new one, so it'll be. You can't burn them at the same time, can you? Like, I'm not going to mention names, but I think there's a few out there at the moment that get it burnt that have been set there for 6 months, and it's probably unrealistic prices, and the thing's cooked already. You need to really peel it back again and start again. It's cooked. Like, so we won't even put it on there. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do a pamphlet. Just had to secure the name. I think we've got it now anyway. Labelle or something, but we'll see. And then give it to these guys. They'll do up a little pamphlet and only send it to a VIP database. Correct?
Yeah.
Right.
He knows more about that, but that's the first part.
It depends the product as well. That's very different because that's creating the market again. But in the past with Justin, once the plans are DA approved and we know that's what we're working with and there's going to be no other changes, we have in the past gone to get renders, professional renders, not terrible ones, like invest the money to get great renders, put it on the internet portals and then start actually building a bit of a base of people that are interested in that type of property. And with McGee, it sold once the floor plan was done, so people could have a walk around. But we were collecting this pool of people the whole way, not really giving a buy price, more just, I guess, expressions of interest. And when there was people that we felt, oh, actually, they're a really good client. They got a lot of money. Yeah, they got a lot of money. We're nurturing them through the process, but also with Justin. So when we feel it's the right time to maybe do the introduction, the property's at that right position where we can actually do a bit of a walk around.
You see everyone's investing in it. You know what I mean?
So these buyers really care about who this developer is.
They'll call and they'll say, what's going on with that? Like, I can see it's renders. We drove past. It's a block of land. Well, it's actually going to be...
These people walk past, like the ones
They did.
that
They lived
walked
in the
past,
area.
and then I put it on hold, but I said to Trevor, no one's going in. I'm done. Because I dealt with someone for 3 months, and I was like, you know what? At the end of it, I was like, go away. You're not buying it. It's done. Finished. Paid all this money. I won't mention names, but done. And I said, that's it. We're waiting until the end. And then I remember I was over at Dorset, and Trevor goes, oh, you got to take this. I'm like, nah, not taking through. Nah. He's like, mate, seriously, I've sold to him 3 times now. Trust me, you need to take him through. They'll say yes or no. I was like, righto, I'll be there at 4 o'clock this Arby. And there you go. I could have kept saying no to that and wouldn't have happened. But, yeah.
It just gives you a bit of time up your sleeve because you can sell it at any point, but it's all price dependent. Like, wherever Justin decides he wants to sell it, whether it's at lockup, whether it's a little bit further, whether we style it and it's going to auction, it's all about price. But at least if you get the process started a little earlier, and it will change depending on the product and depending on the market. But like at least you're starting to talk to people.
Yeah, it's getting people excited, I guess. But not too many, because like I said, you don't want to sit on realestate.com and just burn it.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at the same thing constantly, and then everyone does it. Why has that been there for so long?
Yeah. So you were just saying, Geordie, you put it on realestate.com
No,
to get the renders?
At a time.
Depends.
Okay.
At a specific time when
Right.
it's like getting close to that point where you can actually see a bit that's happening.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the first start will be just getting obviously you might say there's 10 people here that fit this category of that one you're doing. Let's just get it to them and let's get all the information they need to them. You might jag to them. And then if they give you the right price, you work with them. If not, then you wait a bit and then you'll go onto the realestate.com. Or the next step is to wait to the end, which, the next one I think considering we should do it because I think it'll...
It's a really easy conversation to the marketplace because it's under construction. What the plan is, our client wants to finish it, style it, and take it to auction. The whole market's going to get involved at this point. At the moment, we're just really expressing interest on the property. If you're serious about it, want to talk about it further with us and our client, happy to do that. But it's going to be on a case-by-case situation.
That's
So it
such a
feels
competition.
exclusive.
They also get the chance to make a couple of changes, not significant changes, but add-ons,
That's what's up.
Correct.
a few little changes, which is what we did with that one.
So I'd imagine
We
that
took
would
the lift
change.
we took the lift out of that last one.
You're
You
right.
know, they were on a
Massive.
lift.
Huge.
Like, wine cellar out, fans
Wow,
out.
who were they? Lift and wine cellar are like my two
They
main.
took all the weird
And then
things
we
out.
added, then we conversated
Need the lift to get
another,
back upstairs.
and then we added on other things, instead. So extra
Yeah.
joinery, credenzas, and so they get an option to do that. But once it's built, you don't get an
You
option to do
don't.
it yourself. But we'll always just be there. We do maintenance programs, and then we'll say, look,
Mm.
if you want to do more, we'll prefer to be the ones to do it, and they'll get us to do it anyway. But it's better, obviously, during construction because when you hand it over, they just want to move in and be done with it.
So an entry level developer, though, I'm imagining, because I'm trying to look at this from both perspectives, they would probably end up going to auction rather than selling during
Yeah.
construction.
But
Like
I
it's
would,
different.
You wouldn't put it on the market.
Yeah.
So there's another one that just sold. It was actually with another client though in Hilltop Road, and he was preparing it for styling and auction. But we approached him because if you're connected to an agent that works in an area, they're meeting people that want to sign a check. And if we suggest something, sometimes we bulldoze our way in, even though they're like, "No, we want to style it." It's like, no, this person is the buyer. They've driven past, they know the price.
Yeah, save
they've got
yourself
to
the hassle.
they've got to enthuse you enough with the right money to stop you from going to auction. And if you find the right person, they can walk in and go, "Well, we'll just buy it. We don't want to compete."
And then,
And then the price is better again.
Correct.
Then you got to work with them. Like we'll taking scissor booms and stuff in there and taking it all the way up as high as the top floor to show the view properly.
Wow.
Because if camera doesn't do it, drones suck it all in. It doesn't do a
Yeah.
justification. So you got to work with them. But hopefully it comes through. But you got to put in the effort. I guess you got to put the confidence in them. And then the more you do, the more the more they're going to see. You just say drive past this or go in this, and we can take them into whatever ones you want, which is great. That always helps. So yeah.
I think exclusivity is the big thing that you mentioned before. Like some will look at this and go, like you mentioned before, it's just going to dilute this product. It's going to dilute this opportunity. If you handle it methodically and you create value in this and you create that exclusivity and that demand, then you can end up realizing a really nice sale price. So can you do this with Justin style of developments as well as like smaller developments? For example, Old Justin works with a real estate agent that's another area. Can you do the same thing?
I wouldn't personally in the lower end. I would just keep it with, like, how many times have we sold your houses also without marketing just because we meet somebody and we only have a limited amount of properties for sale. And when you say, well, we've got this one coming up, but I don't know if the owner will sell it, but I like you. I'm going to see if we can get you in today. Let me just give him a call you back.
100%.
And then it's like, well, he wouldn't let anyone else in, but we're going to get you in. And it's normally the truth. Like, we're not
that's
actually
right.
talking crap.
Well, I told you that before. I said, Trev,
If
no.
they're the right person, they're the right person, you would do it.
exclusivity
Yeah,
that we went
that's
over this
right.
morning.
Exactly.
That's the only time you do it. Otherwise, you would take it to auction,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. But it's still worthwhile for a person that's wanting to go out and do a development to have an agent in their corner from the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Well, personally, like, if I'm on the outside in and there's some, random owner builders doing a reno and they want to sell it halfway through, I'm not buying it. And I did a couple, back in the day where it was owner builder because, we got them done. Like even the one at 40 Old Gospel was based on that, but it was it was a struggle because there's no homeowner's warranty with it. So they need clarity around what happens after it if something happens, because they don't have that when someone's doing an owner builder. It's not there. So that's a hurdle for people starting out. I wrote a letter saying I would be there, and I was. One little gutter leaked or something. It wasn't even in the house. We went back and fixed it. Skylight had a little leak. After that, 200 mil of rain. We went back then. Then I put faith in them. Oh, yeah, no worries, sweet. No one went in the paper as well, and that put sort of, I guess, confidence around that one. But yeah, you got to watch out for those things. They're the hard ones, but I'm not buying one halfway through.
Can I say something that I see as an agent looking back? Because he's very, very skilled at understanding what things will cost to build, pretty closely. And I'll say to him, buy this site, you build it for this and we sell for that. He's like, what the hell? It's like double that to build it. I'm like, okay, next.
Yeah.
But I could see people getting numbers wrong and then getting them stuck.
Oh, easy.
We talk about this all day long.
huge.
It's massive.
It's massive.
Massive.
I've only done it a few times,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
We see it all the time with the brand new developers. Like we'll say, you got to buy it for this, you got to sell it for that, and they'll say, I'll need to build it for this, and then they'll come back to us and say, oh, we actually spent $500,000 more, which was their profit margin, and they'll say, oh, we need to put that on the sale price.
Well, what about
That's a really important stuff. That's probably my favourite in developing as a whole is that feasibility part, because you're so right, and we always see people who don't think about the time factor, don't think about all the hidden costs.
I don't know how that works, but
we've sent a few back and forth. Maybe I'm super strict on that, but look, like I said with that big one, there's big apartments, and I was getting quotes for when I wasn't going to build them at that time ages ago, and there was a few of us involved in it. Quotes from 8 million to 18 million to 14 million, and it's like
how do you
big differences, man, and and they just stopped the whole project.
How do you get that right? How do people get that right?
I would now. I just went in something pretty big, pretty young and early, I guess, with other people. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do people get that wrong?
They don't use our feasibility calculator.
Is that what
That's
we use?
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we use.
Well, you go.
It's an Excel spreadsheet.
But I see so many people blow it out.
Yeah, I know.
And this is before things changed.
Correct,
Like going back
correct.
years ago, I used to always think, how
they
does
want
that
it
happen?
cheaper, but they try and convince themselves that they're gonna build it cheaper, but they actually can't.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's like land purchase for a house is. I mean,
And I've learned
I'll
that.
sell it for
I used to do
$2.5 million.
it.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
That's
but I used to
exactly-
do it, and I've had to teach myself, no, you can't.
Because
Yeah.
and you just, I'll cut costs, I'll do things,
Yeah.
and it affects product.
We had a client the other day who said to us, and they're mature, they're very great in their business, they're good with numbers, and they sat there and they said, we just missed a property, like a purchase, we really wanted it, we're really upset about it, and then we just went and did your feasibility calculator, and we realised it was actually going to cause us to come way under I think it was around 10% or something, if that. Right, and we talk about going above 20, 25%, etc. So that was really good to hear that feedback from them, and they could see it then in black and white. We're actually happy we missed that one now.
Yeah.
So you can see
Well, I
the
had a
benefit of
basic
doing it
one that I
properly.
can just do that I've always sent you that I can just do quickly straight away there on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I come back to the office and then I've got the advanced one, which it would take a couple of hours to do properly. And then, but now the basic one's pretty much in my head. Like I can just do it on my phone. Like I just boom, 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 and then it can tell you.
'Cause you're well versed
And then
in
you
it.
just go, oh
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing it. If you walk away from 99% of them,
Ryan does the calculator, still wants to buy it, even.
but you do. You walk away.
I just believe in your product, and I just believe you can set any
You
market.
do.
That's really the only
Oh, it's
reason
so
I do it.
sweet.
That's all. It's just
Hey,
a belief
can
thing.
I ask-
I believe in you more than you'll ever believe in you, right?
I had to put a wig on it and take it home.
It's a bit far. You won't even let me wear your cute JSH project shirt in denim, mate, with the cowboy hat.
We'll get you some.
Can I ask about design? Because we were talking earlier about that design process, and you would know there's probably things in homes at the moment that you're selling or not selling that people really either want or don't want. So like, what are those key things that you're seeing that buyers just don't like or love for a developer to think about, I need this incorporated into my development?
What I see people do is they build things that they like.
Yeah.
But the broader you go, the better the potential of a great price is.
Right out of your mouth, Jordan.
Yeah. You got to build for a broad market.
Yeah.
That's why I like one broad, and that's why everybody just does Hamptons and that neutral style, because it doesn't polarize anybody. When someone builds something specific, it's got to suit somebody specific. And then if you're creating a market and it's specific, your buyer pool just keeps getting smaller.
Well, I did so many Hamptons and coastal Hamptons before. Like I wouldn't dream of doing a friggin' contemporary Mediterranean earthy looking thing back then, because I think they'll buy it for the product and they'll buy it for, I guess, who's doing it and who's involved in it and all that sort of stuff. But before, coastal Hamptons, any day of the week, white, stone, timber. It's cookie cutter,
It
but
sells.
everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it.
And it sort of won't date or fade, like it's...
And you can change it to suit yourself pretty simply.
And there'll
Dress
always
up
be a
yourself.
buyer.
Yeah, there is.
Do you think as well, just one thing, I heard a couple of times, I really like it, and I've started to do it, look at a floor plan through the eyes of a woman.
Yeah, because they're the ones who are buying it.
They are. And I listen to, over all of these years of selling real estate, you listen to the women actually talk logically about a floor plan. Like, are those kids a little too far away from us in the master bedroom?
Correct. You
If
always
we
think
have
about
another kid,
functionality.
we can't really put
Number
them
one.
downstairs.
The wardrobe.
You get
So why didn't you make Lara come to that development the other day?
Because I can see through
I
the eyes
can't-
of a woman.
Yeah, you are a cowboy hat wearing denim bloke. I knew it.
That's right. Two visions. So, but it's so true.
What's your experience with that? Because if the floor plan is so right, like I've seen people build the most amazing homes. Floor plan doesn't suit, no one buys it. It doesn't matter if you reduce the price to almost nothing.
Yeah,
they just
they
are
won't
like,
care.
it doesn't suit us.
They won't
I
care.
can't live here with
Nope.
my family with the layout.
Especially
like
a
this.
floor plan, you got to understand a floor plan. You can change a color palette.
Yeah.
It's expensive to change a floor plan.
Well, you always
know?
say single level, right? Not double level. You
Yeah,
want
and if it
triple.
is 2 stories, look, McGee was 3 stories from the basement, but it's got to function. Like, we had all the bedrooms on the top floor, right? And I learnt that lesson a long time ago, but I didn't have the option. I had to put 2 bedrooms in a garage that was already there in the younger days. And then we had a guest bedroom on the middle floor, tucked way away, right at the back, like no one there, like their own little area. And then the rest was all living area, and then the bottom was basement. It's perfect. You know when your kids separated? I've lived in it. Like I said, it was a one that we did well with. It was a really good development. It took a while to sell the one in Max, but it was like, what did I have? I had our mark, because I went in and said, we're going to stay for a bit. I'm going to do like 1/3 of the top floor is our bedroom. I did that. And then we had a little room, which was, we used an office, but then we had the baby went in there. And then you go down another set of stairs, and there was a guest bedroom and a media room and that. And then you went down another set of stairs where I put, because I had a massive garage and extended out the front, remember? And then we put the other 2 bedrooms downstairs next to the laundry, and our other 2 kids were down there. We hated it.
Yeah. It's horrible.
If someone's walking in, that's where they're walking first. So that doesn't work. But I didn't have an option on that one. So yeah, double story, you need to be together.
So at what point do you tap in an architect or a designer?
time, I reckon.
Every time, like even on the smaller,
Yep.
and use a drafty, like you said before.
Well, no, look,
Like because
not on the smaller ones. Like, I mean, you're paying. You use a drafty.
A drafty.
Like, and you've got to use
$5,000, $7,000,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, 10K.
10K.
Good architects now, you're paying 60 to 100. Right, and then the stuff that we're selling, you need to pay extra, and we need to have zoomed in joinery detail. We need to have wet area detail. You can see where the rope hook's going. They need to see that. 3Ds of it all, top, elevation, side, not just of the house, of the kitchen.
What's the tiering like with your under 2 mil, 3 mil? Do you have
I'd
any
probably
tiering
say-
system before you go from drafty to
I
designer?
reckon like
drafty to architect.
$1.5
sorry?
million and over, I'd be going to an architect. But there's stages of architects too.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? I've seen architects. I'm lucky. I'll get a good deal. I've got good guys, and we all work well. So same part as a team, another team, and that's it. They always get our work. I could go to someone else, and they'll charge. They're not, architects aren't cheap, but I could get charged even more double. You got to suit. So know when to use the architect, but also pick the. If you don't have a relationship like I have with mine, you got to pick the architect to suit it. You got to go look at their drawing. Someone just draw what they want to draw. I'm sorry, architects out there, but they do. They've got a passion of what they want to draw. Do you know how many times I've been brought a set of drawings and they go, oh yeah, we can build this for 2, and I go, I'll look at it again. No, there you go, take it back, 4 mil. Don't even have to worry about pricing it.
Do you sit the architect, say over 1.5 mil build, with the real estate, so you've got a collective viewpoint of the buyer to sell to?
I think Oh, I think you just talk to the, like, in that stage, like, we'll
Most
sit down
good
walls.
architects sort of know.
They do, yeah, most of them. You just got to pick the right one. But yeah, I think $1.5 million and under, you're probably stretching to pay $50K or more for an architect. You need to put your time out. Mate, seriously, the difference is the amount of time that I had to put in my developments when I started out was trying to do everything. You got to cutting costs because I'm driving out. Like I said, I'd sit there all day. I'd get the floor plan off like the agents and I'd put the tracer paper over the top and I'm just drawing. And then finally get it, show the missus through the eyes of a woman. Loz, what do you think? Oh no, maybe we should change that, this, and then make tweaks. Then when you get it right, then I show them, this was back in the day, then I send it to me draftsman and say, draw that up for 5K. I've taken half the work away from him. Yeah. He's just doing it all, he's just copying that and putting it on his software. So if he was 8K, now he's costing me 3. You know what I mean? Because I've just taken 5K work away from him.
Did he tend to come back with alterations?
Oh, he might have made suggestions.
But then you just said no.
And then if I didn't like it, I stuck with it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to Google where to get tracing paper from because I figured out I've got the creative ability to do this myself. I'm not going to build it.
I've got to say, the floor plan is a part of the profit.
Yeah.
It has to be. Yeah. You get that wrong, it's all over.
See you later.
You got a house that's sitting there and you're just reducing that thing until someone goes, gee, that's cheap enough. I'll just deal with that shitty floor plan.
Yeah, I'll give Lisa the tracing paper.
You won't get it wrong. You got too many good people around.
My main thing was the lucky thing about it is you come in off brush and you're coming into that middle level. That's really good. Then the other one drops. So it's actually further to get to that. You know what I mean? And then... But I'm like, that wing has to have 3 bedrooms on it with en suites. Like, so generally, majority of people have 2 kids, right? Maybe 3, but a majority of buyers have 2 kids. I think that would be the number 1 percentage out of how many kids the family has. And then if they have an older one, they're downstairs. It's not like, and I'm not upstairs and they're walking in. They're walking on that level. They've got to go past us to go downstairs. So that was critical on the brush one as well. Yeah, we got 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms or something in the studio, but I made sure no matter what we had, I kept pushing that wing out to get it. I'm like, Dave, no, we need to keep going. And had to because I couldn't have 2 bedrooms up there. I just knew it was going to wreck everything. Yeah.
So nothing else other than floor plan, nothing else, no little secrets
design and stuff. Like I said, you can't polarize people, but the product's got to be good too.
Yeah.
Like, you've got people like Justin who are brilliant builders, and like we don't do a lot. They know what they're doing, but you also get like myself who's got no building experience, but I want to flip a house and I'm like painting it and doing the weird stuff. Yeah. And you walk in and you can just tell that there's no quality in it. The workmanship's terrible. They've renovated a floor plan just to make a buck, but the floor plan doesn't work. Like you would rather save up a little bit more and do it properly rather than try and just pump one out, paint it yourself, like can't afford a floor planner, so you're just extending it and people are walking in going, it's pokey. And then you've done all this work and you've made no profit.
Yeah, and even younger, I loved drawing and doing that stuff. So it was. Look, I went and bought actually a couple of weeks ago. I haven't used it yet. But I went and bought some more for the if one of them work that you got to, because they're good with renos. Because you can get, like I said, the floor plans and trace paper over the top. Then you can draw off it. I went and bought 2 of them at Officeworks. Still sitting there ready to go. I'm ready to doodle again. I'm ready to start.
So the key takeaway is buy
tracing
paper and have a good partner that's a
and everything will go good after that.
So just to separate times, right? You've got first or second time developer here using a draftsman, 5 to 10 grand. Yep. Then you've got Justin here 10 years later, using architects, and no more are you using tracing paper. Okay, back old Justin, using tracing paper, draftsman, and your wife.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, you were really working the floor plan, right? Working your magic, and then telling the draftsman, this is what my wife sees, kind of. And then the future you is still using the wife, but using the architect. And making sure the
agents and because I know, I know the market. I have to, and I know what I'm buying, even with these guys or without. But they know way more. But I know what I want to do or what I want to set out to do. Whereas even back then, like you mentioned it before, you got to take what you like out of it. I was at the start. I was doing what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like I said, I've got a draftsman. They're not draftsmen's draw like rooms. They're not super on,
Stylish.
but styling and design and materials and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit more vague and more brief, So
But real estates are, even at that earlier level.
yeah,
They've got more taste,
They're going to
right?
give you input. They know what the buyers want.
Yeah, in both realms, right? So
Yeah.
can I ask a key question? How do you differentiate the sales agents? Because you're a very reputable, very, very reputable sales agent, right? You get all the big clients because you're the man, right? John Travolta, right? But how do you, if you're at this level and not even near Justin's level, how do you get a good sales agent on your team? Because you want one that's A, trustworthy, B, has good taste and style, C, can sell and has a database. How do you gauge that?
I would just pick a marketplace and then just pick whoever's specialising the most in that marketplace. Like if I looked up $3 million plus properties in Wombrel, it would be 90% us.
Yeah,
So why would you go to anybody else?
sure.
Like, because when we're talking to you about what we think the right product should be for a $3 million property, we know because we sold them all. We heard from all the buyers. We know what went well. We know what didn't. I wouldn't pick someone that doesn't have anything. And the same with a seller. Like, it baffles me where I see a $5 million property come up with an agent that's never sold a $5 million property. How is he supposed to sell that?
It's all about database.
It really is. So it's the same.
Number one.
Pick your area, pick the product that you want to do, and find out who's selling the most of them.
So you just go on to realestate.com and look who's listing the most in
You
that
can
area.
search.
Yeah.
You can go Wombrel, like $1 million to $2 million.
I put
and see
what
who
size
sells the
properties and
most.
everything. Like
Yeah.
you just fill the shit out of it, and then
They're your specialists.
Because then they've got a database too. So
90% of ours would be sold off your database. It's not. They're not ringing up from real estate. Not our ones now. I'm just saying they're not ringing up. No one's ringing up from realestate.com.
no, because when you deal in a price range, so we might have at the moment 50 properties on the market between 3 and 6 million. Maybe not that many. Say 40. Only one person needs to drop in on one of those properties that's going to suit all of them. So you're coming up next Friday. Great. Well, we've narrowed it down to these areas. We've got 12 properties between 3 and 5 million in this price bracket, and we're looking at them all.
Yeah.
So what time will you be here?
And that's another point. There's times where like when we've got that one on the water at Max, remember? Like it didn't. I'm glad it didn't eventuate, but you just had another buyer there with 10 mil to 12 mil. Remember?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this site's this. We need to put this on it. They'll buy it, but they couldn't wait. They just couldn't. They wanted to buy there and then. They went and bought that one through years for 14 or whatever it was, and they couldn't wait. But if the timing was right, they would have bought that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's the starting process. That's another thing. They'll come to me and say, we've got buyers here that have got this much money. We need to find something. And then you got to work
back.
to wait.
Yeah.
But what you got to understand is people that have that amount of wealth, they don't want to buy a blank site, then design it. They don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
They want to just get the key and turn it and walk in. They do, yeah. So that's the beauty of, I guess, that higher end market, because that's what they want. They're not going to stick around for 3 years. They haven't got the time to do it. They're making their money elsewhere.
Amen. I agree.
So
That's the biggest pain point and the biggest opportunity.
Yep.
Right
So
there.
you just got to make sure you got your ears to the ground and listen to what's out there.
Every marketplace is truly successful. Like, I like the duplex market too. I think that's going to be huge for our area.
gonna be now.
The
The zoning's
zoning's just changed. No one started it yet. All the downsides
we're
of the
looking
market's
for 'em.
huge. They sell like that, the apartments and the townhouses in Terrigal.
You're still going to do it right, but there's still going to be people out there that are still doing like Project Your Home, look at duplexes. They're not going to
they've
work
gotta
up
be right
here,
for that
not like
area.
down in Sydney. They're not going to work.
Yeah.
They're just not.
And
They have to be still
Nice.
high end,
Yeah.
similar to what.
Hampton's duplexes.
Yeah.
Just
Good
and
floor
you know
plans,
what? You know what
master
else is
downstairs.
you know what else
Females
is really creative about it is doing the duplex, but making the two duplexes not the same. They're joined or they're adjoined, whatever you want to be, apart or detached or not. But two different colours, white, grey. Or this one's got timber, this one's got. Set them apart a bit, because when people walk in, they know that when they sell, they're selling their own product, not the one next door can sell at the same time. It's the same.
So are these different buyers? Like, are they investors, or are they just, people that want to get into
There's
that
more
market,
people
don't
moving
have the money, or a bit of
More
both?
people
What do you-
moving here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just move. They want to live there. They want to own, occupy.
And sometimes sometimes age. So they might be pensioners that want they want luxury living.
Low
but
maintenance.
They don't want
Yeah,
the
the
Yeah,
beach.
they don't want the big
Yeah.
yard or whatever. Yeah, and stairs.
That's another massive big point, Matt. What's Matt's number one point?
With what?
I went to look at one with him the other day. He looked down and went, no, the hill's too big. No one's going to buy this.
Yeah.
Because old people walking up the hill.
Yeah.
That's one of his biggest
Yeah.
If he sees a bit of a
for that
hill
type
into
of property,
town to
yeah.
walk up to try and buy something for 3 mil plus, he's like, nah, which is understandable because he's like, they're not walking up that, which is true. And generally, the people that are buying them and spending that much money, majority of them are older.
They're all downsizers. The apartment and townhouse market, I think, has the most emotional range out of every market.
You're not getting many 20, 30-year-olds going to buy 4 million
they're retired, they sell big estates, their money isn't endless, and they've only got a certain amount of time. If the property's going to cost them this or that and it makes them happy, they just pay what they need to pay.
Right. Yeah, that's gold. Beautiful.
What a sesh.
Yeah, insights galore there. Gold. That was fantastic.
All right, better fit a beer in. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're wrapping it up for that beer. Thanks so much, guys. Brilliant.
Cheers. Thanks for having
Loved
us.
it.